The New York Yankees win Game 4, hold off the sweep, hold off elimination, keep the World Series alive, winning Game 4, 11-4. I'm Ryan Sampson, the host and producer of the show. This is the Pinstripe Post postgame live show. That's my guy, New York Post columnist Mike Vaccaro. We're here to talk and break down what we saw tonight. And Mike, before I get to anything else, how you doing?
I'm doing good, Ryan. It's it's good to see the Yankees show a little bit of fight. Good to see that they wanted to extend the series. I felt the same way about the Mets when they beat the Dodgers in Game 5. It was great to see that they wanted to get on the plane back to California as badly as their fans wanted them to. And look, it was great to see tonight the Yankees wanted to get this going as long as possible, every bit as much as their fans did. And after some early trepidation, they did just that.
Yeah, Mike, it followed the same formula that we saw for all these games in the World Series, right? Freddie Freeman, first inning home run, and then I won't lie. Me and most Yankees fans are going, oh boy, here we go again. Freddie Freeman, the killer for us, just can't get this guy out. He's done so much damage for us. And then you had also, after the Freeman home run, you get runners on, right, and Vulpi's at second base, and Austin Wells hits a moonshot to center field and goes off the wall. Vulpi has a terrible read off the wall, doesn't score. Rojas holds him up at third, and eventually they do get that run in, but they could have gotten more, it felt like, in that inning, and there was a chance for them to break through. It looked like it was going to be a very dire situation that the Yankees were going to go out that way, Mike, but credit to them, they battle back, man.
That's 100%, and look, it's a testament to Vulpi that, he could have really been wearing the goat horns tonight. And after that, and look, I get it, especially after last night. There was so much concern about reckless base running. In this case, it was almost too conservative on the base paths. And it's a credit to him. That really could have. I'm not sure if Wells would have gotten the third or not. John Smoltz in the broadcast seemed to think that he would have. Maybe he would have, and maybe that would have been an extra run. But good on Vulpi for making sure that it was a non-factor, because the next time he swung his bat, obviously, he changed the whole game around. Not the whole series around necessarily, not yet, but certainly turned the game around and allowed the Yankees to prevail tonight and give it another shot tomorrow.
Yeah, I think you've hit the high notes right there with Vulpi, and it's a great point. He had that moment in the beginning where you're going, oh boy, Vulp, like, you're a young kid, this is your first time in the World Series, but credit to him, man, that swing of the bat, he hits that bomb for a grand slam. Can you just talk about what you saw there for Vulpi to be able to, considering how much he struggled this year and year prior with offensively at the plate? He's heard the noise. We know how good he is defensively, but in that moment, I just thought that was awesome, and it carried for him for the rest of the game.
It sure did. And look, at the end of Game 2, he had the opportunity to be a big-time hero also, and he had a terrible strikeout on a ball way out of the strike zone. So, he also bounced back from that. Look, it's not easy being Vulpi. It really isn't. I get it. There's nothing that's really terribly hard about the life of a ball player, except the actual playing of it. It's a great life to live. But look, this is a guy who, from the moment he wore the uniform, whether it was fair or not, he was going to be compared to the last hot young shortstop who came and made an impact, and that was Derek Jeter. And it's unfair to anybody to be compared to Derek Jeter. It's the way things are. It's the natural evolution of things. He seemed to understand it, not be overwhelmed by it. He didn't have a great year last year, but he won a Gold Glove as a rookie. That says something. And you can tell there was an improvement this year. And look, not everybody is a ready-made superstar the way Jeter was. Sometimes it takes some time. Sometimes it takes a couple of years to get acclimated to life in the big leagues, certainly life in the big leagues as a prominent Yankee. And, look, we'll be able to give a little more context to it probably 2, 5, 10 years down the road and say, well, this is what turned his career around. For the moment, it was just wonderful to see a guy with obvious ability, as he has, rise to the moment and deliver in a way when the Yankees desperately needed it. Look, they needed somebody to make a statement.
Yeah.
And he was the guy who did it. Later on, they added on, and I'm not sure how much you can read out of that 8th inning where they really poured it on the Dodgers. I think more than anything else, all that did was just allow them to not have to overextend Weaver, but good for Vulpi. He's been a stalwart for 2 years. He's absorbed some tough times, and it paid off for him tonight. And good for him.
Yeah, good for him. He's a homegrown kid, and I know He knows he wears it on his chest. We could see it, and for him, I think that was just so awesome to see to come through like that. And he was so active on the base pass after that too. I loved how aggressive he got stealing bases, and the Yankees as a team got aggressive. And that was the right mindset. You have nothing to lose. This is it. Be aggressive, steal bases, get guys in space. And Mike, it was the chicken parm boys tonight. Besides Vulpi, it was Austin Wells. The guy, Austin Wells, had been horrendous in the month of September, and it carried over into the postseason. We know how well he's been defensively, and I don't know about you, Mike, I forgot about this, and you forget about watching Wells every single day. He's still so young. Did you see how young he's one of the youngest catchers to hit a World Series home run?
Yeah, he's the youngest Yankee catcher to ever do it, which is pretty impressive when you consider some of the Yankee catchers who have hit World Series home runs. So, I mean, look, it's encouraging. I mean, it really is. Everything that happened tonight is encouraging. Even his meaningless single in the eighth inning, but even Judge scratched tonight, which was great to see. And look, I mean, it's important to remember that the Dodgers, if they weren't necessarily giving this game away, it was a bullpen game clearly, and the bullpen arms they used were none of their prime high leverage guys. So those guys are all rested. So I mean, the Dodgers, did not go 110% tonight to try and win this game. Nevertheless, I mean, it's baseball, so they still could have won. They beat the Mets in a bullpen game in Game 6. So it's it's still, you still have to do it. You still have to have somebody step up and actually take control of things, and that's what Vulpi did later on. That's what Wells did. That was an important home run because I think everybody in Yankee Stadium was scared that the Dodgers had already gotten within one run, and it's a long time between the seventh inning and the ninth inning. And I think he made everybody breathe again. And obviously what happened in the eighth inning. And you said it too, credit Vulpi for a lot of what happened in the eighth inning because his daring base running on the base pass, smart daring running on the base pass. And then he beat the throw home.
Yep.
And look, I mean, it might not have mattered, but it certainly helped. And that's, that's just a great sign. He had a great game overall. And obviously we're going to remember the Grand Slam for years to come, because Grand Slams in the World Series are so rare, despite the fact that we've had two in this one already. But those things tend to get remembered forever, and we'll be remembering that. And the way the rest of the series goes, we'll see what happens with how we remember this game. We might call it the Vulpi game 50 years from now. Who knows? Listen,
you have to credit, like, the Yankees could have rolled over and died, considering how the first three games went, and they could have called it in tonight. Like, the offense could have sputtered and done the same thing they'd done the first couple of games. But they didn't. And to your point, Vulpi got them going. It sparked a little bit from there. And you just got to see what happens. Mike, we have to look forward here because tomorrow night's Game 5, right? You're down 3-1 in the series. No one's saying you're going to come back and win this series. Like, no one's saying you're back in this series right now. But all you've done is push this to another day, and you take it one game at a time. The mindset these guys have to play with. But I can't help but speak right now and say, you have your ace going tomorrow. I don't care who the Dodgers are throwing out there as a pitcher. You have the best pitcher on the planet. You have to believe in Garrett Cole. He's got to go out there and shove. How much momentum can this carry if they can get just a great start from Garrett Cole? It feels like that legacy start for Garrett Cole. This is what he came to the Yankees for. This is what he signed that 9-year contract for. He said, and he grew up a Yankees fan. This feels like this moment that can happen tomorrow for Garrett Cole.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's why you got him. That's why you paid so much money for him. That's why he wanted to come here. Was to pitch in games like this all the time. And sure, I mean, I expect he'll be terrific because these are the kind of moments that he thrives in. And look, when you talk about the Yankees, what their mission is now, it's the same as it was for tomorrow. It's the same as it was today. Win one game. Win one game, pack your bags, get on the plane, and keep trying to get things going. Nobody's come back from 3 games to none down in the World Series. There have been a couple who've come back from 3 games to 1 down. That's what you are now. It doesn't matter that you were down 3 games to none. Now you're down 3 games to 1. And teams have done that before. And it's a lot more doable. And you have to look at it that way, especially because you have Cole on the mound. Don't worry about what you're doing in Game 6 and Game 7 if you go there. Worry about winning this game. And you know what? If you had one game for your season, the guy you would want with the ball is Garrett Cole. He's going to have the ball. Let's take a look and see what happens.
Yeah, I totally agree, Mike. I totally agree. It's going to be, I think the Bronx is just going to be they're going to be on fire tomorrow night watching for Garrett Cole and just so amped up for that first inning to see what happens. I thought it was also something that hasn't gone on, we haven't spoke about yet is the Yankees, for the most part, besides that Freddie Freeman home run, I know the Dodgers were able to scratch out a couple more runs. The Yankees held them in check. That bullpen was, again, I thought they pitched outstanding again tonight. From after they went after Luis Heel, I mean, you got great innings from Holmes, Mark Leiter, and obviously Weaver there at the end. What more can you say about this Yankees bullpen? It seems like they found the right formula here, and they're being able to piece some scoreless innings together.
Right, and the fact is that you talk about the term of the moment is high leverage. Well, every pitch those guys threw was high leverage. Maybe with the exception of the ninth inning, but the entire from the moment they took Heel out, all of a sudden every pitch you throw, the season could be altered and possibly end. And they responded to that, and that's really encouraging. I suppose the one thing you wonder is, a lot of those guys are going to be pitching for a third time in a row tomorrow if they're called upon. How will they do? But that again, that's something you worry about. Maybe Cole will give you 7 innings, and maybe the Yankees will be up 6-1 by then, and it won't really matter. You have to worry about the here and now in baseball. I thought that was exactly the way Aaron Boone should have managed the game. It's the way he did manage the game, and the Yankees love to see another day because of all of that.
Yeah, Mike, and one thing I keep thinking about, and tell me if I'm crazy if I'm thinking this and I can't get this out of my head. If they didn't blow game 1 and they had all those opportunities in game 1 to win it, and you can question the decisions Boone made, the Glaber cutoff at second base that he didn't throw his body in front of, all those plays come to mind now. And if you had just won game 1, you'd be 2-2 right now, Mike, going to game 5 with your ace Garrett Cole on the mound. It's such a big what if. I know we hate doing that, but I just can't stop thinking about it as a Yankees fan right now.
Well, it's the kind of thing that fans do.
Yeah.
And that's the difference between fans and the athletes who play the games. Because of the fact that they're built and their DNA doesn't allow them to dwell on things like this is the reason why they're playing Major League Baseball. And you and I are watching Major League Baseball, and it's it really does come down to that. I mean, their makeup is they move on. I mean, maybe in January, if they lose the series, there'll be some regret or whatnot. In the moment, it's bouncing back, being resilient, and doing what you do all year. And this is what they did today. So if they were dwelling too much on game 1, their heads wouldn't have been in the game today. And it would have been impossible, and so, and look, I mean, as much as game 1 hurts, I mean, heck, game 2, they were right there in game 2 too. They were one swing away from really making an impact in game 2. They had a lot of, but all those are the things that you and I talk about. Those are the things that, everybody, rants about in their blogs and on social media. And that's the difference between us and them is that, we just, we worry and they perform, and it's a reminder that they're playing the games for a reason and we're watching the games for a reason.
I totally understand and I agree. Mike, Boone did decide before this game to change the lineup a little bit. He moved Jazz Chisholm into the cleanup spot, moved Stanton down. I had argued with Joel that probably should have been the move after the first couple of games because Dave Roberts, the way he can navigate this lineup, the lanes are easy. They're dictated very easily when you have Stanton and Judge as your 3-4 hitters because you just got to walk Soto. And if you get your best righty in later in the game, you should be able to attack with your best righty reliever against Judge and Stanton. But do you think this is something that we can see them go with this lineup the rest of the way? Or is this just more of a, hey, this is a bullpen game. We know there's going to be different arms coming out of that bullpen, and let's just keep a balanced lineup?
No, I mean, I think that there's no reason to change what they did today because A, because it worked, and B, because the rest of the series, as long as you stay in it, you're going to be facing right-handed starters. Then you adjust to who they bring in the in bullpen. But I thought it was a smart choice. Obviously, it was proved to be a smart choice. I mean, Chisholm had a big hit setting up that inning, and so it's these are things you have to do in the same way that you have to. Maybe ask more out of your bullpen arms because it's an elimination game and all hands are on deck. That goes for managerial situational strategy too. And that's what he did.
Yeah, it was. Final thoughts before we wrap this up, Mike, going into now game 6, game 5. Yeah, I know. I'm getting ahead of myself.
It doesn't count. You caught yourself enough time.
Getting ahead of myself. Game 5. What's the mentality of this team? Like, I know it's one game at a time, but I can't get this out of my head. You got Garrett Cole on the mound. It's time for him to go show why he's one of the best pitchers on the planet.
Look, there's no reason why you shouldn't play this game with as much confidence as you've played any game all year, right? For one thing, I mean, you really are kind of playing with house money. I mean, yes, the Dodgers are really playing with it because they can lose and still have 2 more cracks at it. But look, I mean, you've already survived one game. You're not going to have you're not going to have the ignominy of a sweep. So you're playing at home. That place is going to be electric. It's going to be loud. Cole's going to be fired up. I mean, certainly the first couple innings, you can imagine he's going to be trying to throw 150 miles an hour every pitch. And, he's good enough to where he's going to be able to channel that to probably, you would think, make it through the Dodgers order once. And before you have to worry about anything. And then if you can crack, a couple early runs off of Jack Flaherty, don't forget, Jack Flaherty was every bit as dominant against the Mets in game 1 as he was against the Yankees in game 1. And, the Mets massacred him every time they saw him. And the Yankees have that opportunity. We talk all the time, the familiarity. It's the reason why managers are so reluctant to let starting pitchers line up the third time through an order, right? Well, this is the second time in the same series on a little less pitcher-friendly mound, I think, for visitors than Dodger Stadium. I mean, Dodger Stadium is considered to be the kind of the holy grail for pitchers. And, sometimes it's hard making the adjustment. There's all kinds of reasons why, if you're the Yankees, you have to be filled with confidence. And look, just win a game. Just win a game. Win a second game in a row. You did that a lot during the season. You won 94 games because you wound up winning a lot of games in a row at certain times of the season. Why not do it again now? And don't even worry about what's ahead. Don't worry about what's going to happen. If you win, you get to California, then what? Just get to California. And, they're 9 innings away from doing that. And if they can get there, then all of a sudden we can start switching the conversation and the narrative around a little bit.
Yeah, totally. And when can I expect the Mike Vaccaro 2 fans that helped spark the Yankees rally 3-0 that grabbed the glove from Mookie Betts and try to get that ball from him?
Yeah, that was pretty funny. It was an obvious call, but it was I think Mookie thought that he wasn't going to get his glove back.
Yes.
It's pretty funny. Look, you grab when in desperate times you grab onto anything, right? So, maybe this time next week we're going to be seeing those guys on the float in the parade.
Could you imagine?
And obviously, if they win, they're going to be involved somehow. Jeffrey Mayer, did what he did, almost 30 years ago, and people still remember that name. And in fact, we reached out to him after it happened. That's what to do because Jeffrey Mayer, because of the bizarre world we live in, is as much a part of the Yankee history as Yogi and Gehrig and Babe Ruth in some ways. It's silly, but that's the way it is. I don't know what that guy's name is yet. I guarantee you by tomorrow we will. And by next week, if things go a certain way, we'll probably have memorized it.
What an image that was. Him just wrestling with Mookie to get that glove out of his hand was crazy.
Welcome to New York, right?
Welcome to New York. Final thought. Aaron Judge, that single you talked about in the end. I thought his at-bats were better tonight. Obviously, like you said, it's the bullpen. It's not starter. He didn't look good against Jack Flaherty. Can we see possibly the awakening of Aaron Judge heading into this next game? Again,
along with everything else we talked about tonight, I guess my answer would be why not? Because he did look like he was taking better swings tonight. And look, I could very easily see a thing where Cole looks sharp in the first inning. Maybe Flaherty gets the first couple of guys out, and boom, Judge gets a nice 330-foot home run to right field. I could see that happening, couldn't you?
I absolutely could.
We saw it happen about 20 times this year. So why not tomorrow night? And if that happens, then I think that it'll be a big gust of air in New York because the entirety of Yankee Nation will have exhaled and then take on the rest of the game and the rest of the series. But I could see that happening. Why not? I mean, he didn't just forget how to play baseball. That was true yesterday. I wrote that in my column for tomorrow. For today, that he believes that he's one swing, one at bat, one moment away. And if he believes that, why should anybody else? He didn't have that swing today, even though he had the single at the end. But look, this guy's. And here's the other thing about extending the series. You extend the series more, you're giving him more opportunities to get right. And if he gets right, and I mean really right, these aren't usually one-game flukes where he gets hot. It's usually, they last a long time. And in this case, all they would need to do is last 3 games. So, why not believe that's possible? Because it is possible.
Yeah, he can be such a force. We all know that. I mean, he's the MVP of the American League. but he can win games single-handedly. If you can get him activated, we'll look out. Mike, I appreciate you, man. I'm hoping that we can keep talking to you because clearly this can be a good force, good mojo heading into the next game, game 5, Garrett Cole, all that good stuff. And looking forward to it, man. It's going to be exciting tomorrow night.
Sounds good, Ryan. I will see you for sure same time tomorrow. And who knows, maybe we'll see each other the same time on Friday night too. That'd be nice.
I'm going to drag you on these streams every time then if that's what's going to be, Mike. If this is a